Kath, hi.
Hi.
Great to see you. Now, for the benefit of the folk who are listening, I just need to say that this is brilliant because I'm actually chatting to one of my best friends here this afternoon.
Oh,
Some folk will know who Kath Johnson is, and others may not. So I'll get you to introduce yourself in a minute. And this is an opportunity, really, for folk throughout the benefice. That's Hallow, Holts, Grimley, Lower Broadheath, to hear something about just one particular area of your life, which is IJM, the International Justice Mission. I'll get you to say more about that in a minute. But first of all, Kath Johnson, who is she, and what kind of does her life look like, in a couple of minutes?
yeah. Well, thank you so much for chatting. It's such a pleasure to be able to sort of talk about some of the things that I'm passionate about today. But yeah, so I have lived in Worcester for 10 years. So Rich and I are involved leading and serving at All Saints Worcester, which is why we came to Worcester 10 years ago. We have got 3 kids, one who's a teenager and 2 younger. We're also involved in New Wine, which is a national network of churches, local churches changing the nation, is the strapline, and we're gathering next weekend, which is going to be open to all, so do come and be part of that. And the hat I wear in terms of paid employment at the moment is with IJM, which, as you said, is International Justice Mission. And yeah, so I can talk more about that now, or
Yeah.
shall I just go for it?
Yeah, just go for it, Kath, and assume we don't know anything, because I don't know very much actually. So assume we don't know anything, and fill us in a bit on what the vision is and what your role is in it.
I'd love to. So I actually first heard about IJM 5 years ago when Gary Haugen, who's the founder of IJM, came and spoke at New Wine, actually. And Gary Haugen is an American guy who was involved, he's a lawyer who's involved in the UN investigation into the Rwandan genocide. And following his investigations, he came back with this vision to not only meet the kind of basic needs of the poor around the world, but actually to tackle violence against and oppression against the poor, because you can give the poor as many resources, basic resources, as you want, but if those resources are then taken from their hands by bullies, then those resources mean nothing. And so the mission is to protect the poor from violence. That's the mission that the strap line that we work with. And we work in various different arenas, but the main thing is anti-slavery. So we're the largest anti-slavery, international anti-slavery organisation in the world.
Right.
And we exist because there are still 40 million people in slavery still. 40 billion really would be bad, but it's 40 million, which is still just the most horrendous number of people in slavery today. So slavery didn't die out when William Wilberforce was working with his abolitionists to bring an end to slavery through the UK, but it still exists very much so, and it exists in all sorts of different ways. But we work in 19 different field offices around the world, all around the world, and we're tackling different forms of slavery. So over in the Philippines, we're working a lot with like online abuse of children. So that's the big issue that we work with over there. We work in South Asia and do a lot of rescues in brick kilns, so sort of bonded labour, forced labour. We also work in countries in Africa, Ghana being one, where we do a lot of work on Lake Volta, biggest man-made lake in the world, and we do a lot of rescues of children who are forced to work in the fishing industry over there, forced to, from the age of 4, forced to dive into this lake and untangle the fishing nets which get caught in the trees, because it's a sort of man-made lake, so it's a submerged forest. And
Right.
the children are forced to dive in and untangle the nets which get caught on these old trees that still exist in the lake. And
Wow.
you might remember I went over to Ghana a couple of
Yeah.
years ago actually to see the work over there, and was just so impacted. And that was one of the reasons I ended up working for IJM, because God just got my heart.
Yeah.
And as I met some of the children who had been rescued from slavery, these survivors, these incredibly brave children, some of who'd been in slavery for up to 10 years, their entire childhoods just completely taken by traffickers, by people who had exploited their trust and their innocence, and they were forced to work day in, day out, often deprived of food and medical care, and forced to work in dreadful conditions on that lake.
Thanks, Kath. And you know, for us sitting here in sort of leafy, quiet Hallow or Holt or Grimley or Lower Broadheath, you know, our little benefits team of churches, and we hear this, we could, I'm not saying we do, but we could be inclined to think, but that seems so far removed from where we are. You know, what relevance is that to us? So I wonder if you could help us to kind of answer that question, really. How can we, as God's people, you know, what responsibility is on us, and how could we potentially get involved in supporting, praying, giving, whatever else for this mission?
Yeah, great question, thanks. So actually, interestingly, referring back to New Wine strapline, which is local churches changing nations, and actually really that's what we see day in, day out through IJM. We see that the impact that local churches like yours, like ours, like so many others around the UK who are partnering with IJM through their partnership, and that partnership looks primarily like prayer and like financial support. So those are the two big ways that we in the UK can be making an absolute impact on slavery around the world. So at IJM, we have prayer at the centre of all we do. So we're contracted to spend an hour a day praying. So we start the day with half an hour of bringing our day and our work individually before God, and we just pray for his favour, for his perspective, for his strength, and actually for joy in what we do. And then at 12:30, the whole UK team come together on Zoom, and we pray for our rescue operations going on around the world. We pray for finances. We pray for all of the needs that we have, both in the UK, but as a team around the world. And so prayer is very much at the centre of what we do, and we absolutely covet the prayers of people who we work with. So we would love you guys to pray. But then also, in order to fund our operations, to fund the transformation of justice systems around the world, to fund our social workers, our aftercare centres, our investigators who are going out and finding children who need to be rescued, we obviously need to fund all of that. And so we have a model called Freedom Partners. So you can sign up if you go to the IJM UK website. You can sign up to become a Freedom Partner, and that just allows you to partner prayerfully and financially, and to support our work.
Superb. Well, what I'll do, Kath, when I post this video on our WhatsApp group and on our website and Facebook page, I'll include the website link to the IJM site. So if anyone's heard anything from what you've said that's really spoken to them or challenged them, And is it which? And if they want an email address, can I give them yours, or what's the best email address to give them
Yeah,
if they want?
absolutely. So my email address is kath.johnson@ijmuk.org, which maybe you could include in your information. And yeah, we were chatting a bit before we started recording, weren't we, Paul, about how churches can actually partner as well. And we've got a new model which is actually just about to be launched this month, called Freedom Church, where we have a model for churches to partner with IJM, and that's through prayer, like I've been saying, through prayer, through acting, so through all sorts of different actions, and through giving. So that sort of characterises this Freedom Church model, which we're really excited about. And
yeah, it's exciting.
The last thing I just wanted to flag for anyone who does who's heard this and wants to maybe find out a bit more, is that actually on Friday night next week, 31st of July, we have Gary Haugen actually speaking as part of the New Wine Festival. So Friday the 31st, if you tune into the New Wine event, Gary's actually speaking to the UK church, and it's I've heard it, and it is absolutely brilliant, one not to be missed. So definitely one.
Can they get a link to that from the New Wine website, or from you, or how do they get there?
Yeah, so if you go to the New Wine website, there'll be a link on how to tune into that. Yeah.
Kath, that was amazing. Thank you. I knew it would be, but thank you so much. I love what you do.
Such a pleasure.
Bless you. And
such a pleasure.
Yeah. And thanks very much for being willing to be interviewed.
Thank you.
Right, I'll stop now.